The quantum breakthrough. Dr. Sarah Chen floated weightless in the observation deck of Luna Station, her dark eyes reflecting the Earth's blue marble suspended in the void. The coffee in her magnetic cup had gone cold hours ago, but she barely noticed. Her mind was consumed with equations, possibilities, and the weight of discovery that could change everything. The quantum entanglement laboratory hummed behind her, its crystalline core pulsing with an otherworldly blue light. For 3 years, Sarah and her team had worked in secret, funded by black budget allocations that officially didn't exist. The breakthrough had come at 3:47 hours, during what should have been a routine calibration test. "Sarah, you need to see this." The voice belonged to Dr. James Park, her closest colleague, and the only person who truly understood the magnitude of what they had achieved. His usually steady hands trembled as he held the data pad. Sarah pushed off from the observation window, gliding gracefully through the zero-gravity corridor to the main lab. The sight that greeted her defied everything humanity thought they knew about physics. Inside the containment field, 2 particles danced in perfect synchronization, separated by nearly a kilometer yet moving as one entity. "The entanglement field is stable," James whispered, his voice filled with awe. "We're maintaining quantum coherence across macroscopic distances. Sarah, do you understand what this means?" She did understand, perhaps better than anyone. The implications crashed over her like a tidal wave. Instantaneous communication across any distance. Ships that could appear and disappear like ghosts. Weapons that could strike without warning. But most importantly, freedom from the tyranny of light speed that had kept humanity trapped in their corner of the galaxy. Admiral Rebecca Stone materialized on the holographic projector, her weathered face bearing the scars of 20 years, defending Earth's colonies from pirates and raiders. Her expression was skeptical as always when dealing with what she called scientist magic. "Dr. Chen, I hope you have something more substantial than theoretical papers this time. The hegemony empire just wiped out 3 more colonies in the Vega system. We lost 12,000 civilians, and our response fleet won't arrive for another 6 months." Sarah straightened, her scientific excitement tempered by the grim reality of interstellar warfare. The hegemony had been expanding aggressively for decades, consuming smaller civilizations like a cosmic plague. Humanity was next on their list, and everyone knew it. "Admiral, we have more than theories. We have a working prototype." Sarah gestured to the quantum core behind her. "We can build ships that travel instantly between any 2 points in space. No more months-long journeys. No more arriving too late to save lives." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. Military minds were trained to spot deception, wishful thinking, and impossible promises. But something in Sarah's voice, the absolute certainty of a scientist who had seen the impossible become reality, made her pause. "Show me." The next 6 hours transformed Admiral Stone from skeptic to believer. The prototype ship Prometheus was barely larger than a shuttle, its hull studded with quantum field generators that hummed with barely contained energy. When the test began, Sarah held her breath as reality bent around them. The sensation was indescribable. One moment they hung in Luna's shadow. The next, they materialized near Jupiter's largest moon. No acceleration, no journey through space, just existence in one location followed by existence in another. The laws of physics hadn't been broken, they had been transcended. Captain Lisa Rodriguez, the test pilot, spoke through the comm with barely controlled excitement. "Control, we just traveled 400 million kilometers in 0 time. The quantum core is stable, all systems normal. We're reading some interesting gravitational anomalies, but nothing dangerous." Admiral Stone was quiet for long minutes, staring at the readouts that proved the impossible. When she finally spoke, her voice carried the weight of someone who understood that history had just changed forever. "How fast can you build more?" Sarah exchanged glances with James. They had hoped for this question. But the answer was daunting. "With unlimited resources and priority construction, we could have a fleet of quantum-capable warships within 18 months. But Admiral, we're not just talking about new engines. This technology will revolutionize everything about space combat. The Admiral nodded grimly. Intelligence reports suggested the hegemony was massing their grand fleet for a final assault on human space. 18 months might be all they had. Then we better get started. This project now has absolute priority. Whatever you need, whoever you need, consider it done. Humanity's survival depends on what you build in that lab. As Admiral Stone's hologram faded, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. The quantum breakthrough wasn't just a scientific achievement anymore. It was humanity's last hope against an empire that had conquered half the galaxy. The prototype Prometheus shimmered back into existence beside Luna Station, its hull glowing softly with residual quantum energy. Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm, professional composure barely containing her amazement. Control, recommend we begin immediate construction of quantum-capable vessels. With refinements to the field generators, we could achieve even greater range and precision. The tactical advantages are, she paused, searching for words, overwhelming. Sarah began issuing orders, her scientific mind already racing through the engineering challenges ahead. Quantum field generators would need to be mass-produced. Pilots would require completely new training. The entire concept of space warfare was about to change. But as she watched Earth turning slowly in the distance, Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced in years of desperate research. Hope. The hegemony empire was about to discover that humanity was far from defenseless. They were about to learn that underestimating human ingenuity was a fatal mistake. The quantum age had begun, and with it, humanity's rise from prey to predator in the cosmic order. The fleet awakens. 6 months after the quantum breakthrough, the asteroid belt hummed with unprecedented activity. Hidden within the shadow of Ceres, massive construction platforms assembled humanity's most ambitious project. The quantum fleet was taking shape, each vessel a masterpiece of engineering that would have been considered fantasy just 1 year earlier. Captain Marcus Torres guided his fighter through the construction maze, marveling at the sleek forms taking shape around him. The warships looked nothing like traditional human vessels. Gone were the bulky armor plates and massive engine arrays. These new ships were elegant, almost organic in their curves, their hulls embedded with thousands of quantum field generators that gave them an ethereal glow. Falcon Squadron, this is Control. Proceed to Base 7 for final integration testing. The voice belonged to Commander Sarah Chen, who had transitioned from lead scientist to project director as the quantum fleet became reality. Marcus acknowledged and guided his fighter toward the designated bay. His ship, the Wraith, was one of the first production quantum fighters, capable of instantaneous travel across the solar system. More importantly, it could appear anywhere without warning, strike with devastating precision, and vanish before enemies could respond. The training had been unlike anything in military history. Traditional space combat relied on predictable physics, momentum, and the limitations of reaction drives. Quantum-capable ships threw all those assumptions away. Pilots needed to think in 4 dimensions, considering not just where they were, but where they could instantly be. Marcus, you're cleared for the live fire exercise. Sarah's voice came through his headset. Remember, the quantum targeting system allows you to attack from multiple positions simultaneously. Use that advantage. The training scenario materialized around him. Holographic enemy ships, modeled after hegemony designs, filled the space around Ceres. Their movements were predictable, following standard interstellar combat patterns. Marcus smiled grimly. They had no idea what was coming. He engaged the quantum drive. Reality shifted, and suddenly he was behind the enemy formation. His weapons locked onto 3 targets simultaneously, while his ship calculated jump coordinates for the next attack. The pulse cannons fired, and even as the energy bolts reached their targets, Marcus was already elsewhere. The enemy formation dissolved into chaos. They couldn't track him, couldn't predict his attacks, couldn't even understand what was happening. Within 90 seconds, 12 enemy ships were destroyed without Marcus taking a single hit. It wasn't combat, It was a demonstration of technological superiority so complete it bordered on the supernatural. "Excellent work, Falcon Leader." Sarah's voice carried satisfaction and something else. Pride, perhaps, in what humanity had achieved. "Proceed to the fleet assembly point. Admiral Stone wants to see the full formation." Marcus guided his fighter toward the main construction platform, where humanity's quantum fleet was gathering for the first time. The sight took his breath away. 50 capital ships hung in perfect formation, their quantum cores synchronized in a display of blue-white light that painted the asteroid belt in an otherworldly glow. Around them swarmed hundreds of fighters, each one capable of appearing anywhere in the solar system within seconds. Admiral Stone's flagship, the Defiance, dominated the center of the formation. At 2 kilometers long, it was humanity's first quantum-capable dreadnought, armed with weapons that could strike targets across multiple star systems simultaneously. Its quantum field generators were so powerful they created visible distortions in space-time around the ship's hull. "All vessels, this is Admiral Stone. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in human history. For too long, we've been at the mercy of alien empires who see us as nothing more than resources to be harvested. That ends now." The Admiral's words resonated through every ship in the fleet. Marcus felt the pride and determination of 10,000 crew members, all united in the knowledge that they carried humanity's future with them. Intelligence reports indicate the Hegemony Grand Fleet is massing at the edge of our territory. They believe we're helpless, that our colonies will fall like all the others. They're about to discover how wrong they are. The quantum fleet began to move, not through space but around it. Ships flickered in and out of existence as they practiced formation jumps, their movements creating a deadly ballet that no conventional fleet could hope to match. The tactical advantages were so overwhelming that Marcus wondered if it was even fair to call it warfare. A priority alert flashed across his display. The communication was from the outer colonies, and the message was grim. Hegemony forces had begun their assault 3 days ahead of schedule. The colony world of New Geneva was under attack, its defense platforms overwhelmed by the enemy's superior numbers. "All vessels, prepare for emergency deployment." Admiral Stone's voice cut through the comm channels like a blade. "The Hegemony wants a war. Let's give them one they'll never forget." The quantum fleet engaged their drives simultaneously. 50 capital ships and 300 fighters vanished from the asteroid belt, leaving only empty space and the fading glow of quantum energy. They reappeared in the New Geneva system, arriving with perfect timing to catch the Hegemony fleet in the middle of their bombardment. The alien ships were massive, built for intimidation as much as warfare. Their dark hulls bristled with weapons, and their formation spoke of absolute confidence. They had conquered dozens of worlds using these same tactics, overwhelming local defenses through sheer firepower and numbers. They had never faced quantum-capable opponents. Marcus felt the familiar shift of reality as his fighter materialized directly behind a Hegemony cruiser. His weapons were already locked and firing before the enemy sensors registered his presence. The alien ship's shields flared and died, its hull splitting open under the concentrated assault. Around him, the quantum fleet demonstrated the new reality of space combat. Human ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking from impossible angles before vanishing again. The Hegemony formation, designed to provide mutual support and overlapping fire zones, became a liability as their own ships blocked their lines of sight. "This is impossible," came a transmission from the Hegemony flagship, its translator struggling with the alien commander's disbelief. "How are they moving without displacement signatures? Our sensors show nothing until they fire." Admiral Stone's response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring every ship in both fleets could hear her words. "You wanted to test humanity's resolve. Consider this your answer." The battle was over within 20 minutes. The Hegemony fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming when it arrived, was reduced to debris and fleeing survivors. Not a single human ship had been damaged. The quantum advantage wasn't just significant, it was absolute. As the enemy remnants retreated into hyperspace, Marcus allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The Hegemony Empire had built their power on the assumption that they were technologically superior to their victims. That assumption had just been shattered beyond repair. The quantum fleet had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.